Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Don't Overthink It Podcast, episode 6. My name is Brett James, and I'm joined by my co-host, Darian Harris. Darian, man, we just finished up week 4 of the NFL season, and for y'all that have not been keeping up, man, we've been doing our record predictions, man, making sure that we stay up to date with who's got a better record prediction. Whoever's got the best record at the end of the season between me and Darian has to owe the winner $50. As of right now, I currently have a record of 38-28. Darian's one up me right now. He's got a record of 39-27 through week 4. Also, we do want to take a moment here to apologize really quickly, man. The last 2 weeks, we've been dealing with some technical difficulties with the podcast. Kind of got things up and running yet again. We're on a brand new streaming service as well now. So hopefully everything runs smooth, runs great for you guys, audio and visuals for you guys to stay up to date with us. But Darian, man, hope you guys had a great weekend, bro. Hope everything was good. And obviously our Jags got a W.
Yeah, man. We've been gone like in these last 2 weeks. The Jaguars have been losing these last 2 weeks, so we're back. The Jaguars won. I'm excited to pod. A lot to discuss. A lot of takeaways from this NFL season so far. We're a quarter through, so that's big.
Yep.
NBA season's right around the corner. I'm pretty sure we're going to fit an NBA podcast in here in the next few weeks or so. But yeah, man, I'm excited. Into fall season now in October. The holidays about to start ramping up. So yeah, man, this is a pumpkin spice season right now for you at the Starbucks. So
at Starbucks, yeah, of course, man. I actually got my my Starbucks cup right here. I had my pumpkin spice this morning at work. You know, I always got to support the brand, support the image, and yeah, man, like you said, we're a quarter of the way through the season, man. Fall season's really, I guess coming here right before we know it, and hopefully, man, this weather starts getting cooler, man. I'm so tired of this brutal weather, man. It's Florida. It's October 3rd, and we're still getting 88, 90-degree weather consistently 7 days a week, man. I need 60s, 70s weather, man, desperately, consistently.
It doesn't get cold here in the state of Florida, like seriously, to about like January,
December
bro.
to January.
It's sometimes hot on Christmas, so you know what I'm saying. It gets weird, man. It gets really weird.
Nah, for real, man. I'm getting so tired of it, man. But like you said, also real quickly before we kind of hop into the NFL Week 4 recap, man, I just want to say that with the NBA season upcoming, man, for y'all that don't know or maybe haven't been keeping up with me, man, I'm going to be actually working all the Magic home games this year, man. I got my credential getting approved here in the next couple of days. And just want to give a big shout out, man, to Orlando Magic HQ, a third-party website and company that I work coincidentally with as well, too, as a content creator and as a journalist. So I'll be working all the games at Amway Center, man, getting an opportunity to be around all the athletes, all the coaches, all the players, produce my own content and continuing writing my articles, man. And just wanted to say thank you to each and everybody that's been supporting me on my journey here on the podcast, individually as a content creator, and for everyone, just continuously having my back. And just best believe, man, I'm very grateful for this opportunity. You guys are going to get 110% every single time, man. I know Darian's been following me for a very long time. We've been working together for a long time. And, man, this is still just the beginning of everything.
Yeah, man. Congratulations to you on that, dog. That's big time for real, man. That is big time. You're about to be at all of the Magic games. You're going to see a young, up-and-coming Magic team that can possibly sniff in a play-in spot this year and make some noise in that tournament.
Play-in spot, yes.
The East got a bit tougher, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, they're heavy at the top, okay? They're top heavy, okay?
Yeah, still some good teams in that middle of the pack. You got the Knicks, got the Cavs, you know what I'm saying? So Miami Heat are still there.
Yes, the Heat are still there without Gabe Vincent and Max Strus, but the Heat are still there.
They'll find somebody to knock down shots. Tyler Hero's back healthy, so we'll see.
We'll see. My Magic are a lock to make the play-in. Playoffs, I think we can still get there if everyone's healthy. You know what I'm saying? My Magic are going to be good this year, man. We're going to be a very respectable team. We're going to be over 500. We're going to be a very good team in the East, man. People are sleeping. So I just want to put that out there. As long as I can get more than 12 games out of Jonathan Isaac and man, maybe we got something going in the right direction. Also, real quick, last thing about the NBA. Did you see yesterday at Media Day, Jonathan Isaac was asked about the NBA in-season tournament, and he was unaware that it started this season.
Am
I surprised?
I don't know if these players are being honest about like their takeaways on some of these things, because Kawhi Leonard was asked about like this, the players having to, play all their games now, like player holdouts.
There's no back-to-backs.
And he was like, I didn't know about that, you know what I'm saying? But basically saying that if I'm healthy, I'll play. If I'm not going to play. So, he was saying that he guards the best player on and off the floor. He guards the best player on the floor, and the best player guards him on the floor. So, I mean, he makes sense. We all know he has bad knees. He's coming off
It's
an
not what
ACL and
happened in the
MCL
bubble when he
injury.
was going
So
against Luca.
and
Just
Luka was
saying.
frying the whole
I was,
Clippers
I was about to say.
team.
That's why we stand with Anthony Edwards and Jason Tatum. That's why we stand with them. These brothers want to go out there and play 82 games a season, man. Even if they're playing Charlotte on League Pass, to
Yeah,
use Tatum's words, man. We go out there and
yeah,
we play. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
topic for another day. Enough
Mm-hmm.
NBA talk. We'll have some more NBA talk in the next coming weeks. Let's kind of
Mm-hmm.
get into the NFL Week 4 recap schedule. And we kind of kick things off, man, with an interesting Thursday night football matchup. I think the game should have been a lot better than it was actually anticipated. Darren, Detroit at Green Bay, an NFC North showdown. And Detroit ended up winning that game pretty comfortably, man, 34-20, man. What did you see on Thursday night?
I saw a Detroit offense, a Detroit team in general, and make a statement win. I think that week 1 against the Chiefs was an emotional win, right? You know what I'm saying? But this is a statement win to let everybody know, like, hey, we are going to be the favorite to win this NFC North, right? They have a stranglehold in that division right now. They're currently, I want to say, 3-1. And they're up, at least 2 games right now in that division compared to the Packers, Vikings, and of course the Chicago Bears. So, Jared Goff played really well. Ben Johnson was scheming up Joe Barry's defense that the Packers had on display. I understand the Packers weren't the healthiest. David Bakhtiari is back on the injured reserve list. Jair Alexander didn't play, and they're missing some key pieces. And offensively for the Packers, they couldn't get anything going into the second half, but it didn't mean anything because the game was on the line. The Detroit Lions put up a big time game-winning drive, game-sealing drive with a David Montgomery touchdown.
Another
And
one.
also, they got some more big news this week. The Jameson Williams is going to be back, right? With the new player, a gambling policy being instated. They kind of just say, hey, go back and play, but if you screw up again, there's going to be some major consequences going forward for any player in the NBA, in the NFL. I think now that if you get caught gambling, there could be a permanent ban, like from the league, you know what I'm saying? So some serious things going on with that, which is good for Roger Goodell to make this league have some integrity, and
As they should.
try to. Yeah, so but they get a big playmaker back on the offense, Jameson Williams. You would hope they'll be able to get Jahmyr Gibbs involved more offensively. But as of right now, man, this Detroit Lions team looks very good, and they're the clear-cut favorite to win the NFC North a quarter through the season so far.
Yeah, I got to give a lot of credit to Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions team, man. How resilient they've been. Obviously, we talked about that statement week 1 victory over the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead. Despite them missing Chris Jones and Travis Kelce, they've consistently showed up and shown out. I know they lost in week 2, but then they got a big week 3 win versus the Falcons. Now they go and beat the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau, a team that's taken advantage of them, right, for how many years now, right? Essentially a decade plus.
Yeah.
So big shout out to Jared Goff, man. Big shout out to Amon-Ra St. Brown getting that opening drive touchdown. Maybe it wasn't an opening drive, but they got the first touchdown of the game. And I got to say with Dan Campbell real quick in this offense, man, as great as David Montgomery has been, I see this still as a James Robinson, Travis Etienne, where, they valued a running back extremely highly, guys extremely dynamic and capable in Jahmyr Gibbs. And they're just slowly integrating him into that full-time starting running back role. And David Montgomery is a very good back, very serviceable back. He did some great things in Chicago. That's obviously why he's in Detroit now, getting a larger role. I believe he had 3 touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken, on Thursday night, man, just consistently getting the ball at the goal line. And we saw that with Jamal Williams last year, 17, 18 touchdowns at the goal line. Yeah. We know this is how Dan Campbell likes to run his offense, but Jahmyr Gibbs is the talent. Jahmyr Gibbs is the more explosive and dynamic player, and I think he's the long-term answer at the running back position for them. So I want to see him get involved more. I really, really do with this offense, especially with Jameson Williams coming back. And then for the Green Bay Packers, just really quickly, they got to get the ball rolling. I mean, Jordan Love as a first-year full-time starter, yes, you're going to see a lot of ups and downs with this team. I thought he was going to look a lot better, especially with Christian Watson making his season debut versus the Detroit Lions. I expected a lot more out of him. Romeo Doubs is playing very good. Luke Musgrave is still a young tight end who's got a lot of promise. I know they were missing some players offensively, defensively. They need to do a better job. They just look like they got absolutely punched in the mouth. And that's what a good team should do. A good team and a better team win in to Lambeau Field and beat them. And before I kind of move on to the next matchup really quickly, I know we briefly mentioned it. I do want to kind of get your thoughts on this really quickly. What is your thoughts on the NFL's gambling policy when it comes to players getting suspended? I believe it's either 1 year or 2 years. I forgot to double check, so please excuse me. Do you believe players should be allowed to gamble as long as it's not in the NFL in terms of like you're betting on football? Do you believe they should be able to gamble on the NBA, NHL, whatever it is, horse racing, as long as it's not on the NFL and the integrity of the actual game.
It's hard to judge that, right? Because, like, you can't really go into these FanDuel accounts or these underdog and prize pick accounts and really see what these guys are gambling on, right? I mean, like, I just feel as if, you know, it's hard. It's really hard to justify that. I mean, like, casino gambling is different, right? I
That's
think that
different.
is
Yeah, playing
fine.
roulette or whatever.
You know what I'm saying? All that can't casino gambling is fine. But like, if you're gambling on sports as an athlete, I think that is a very, tough thing to really gauge, because you really can't monitor, because you could be, you know, uh, screwing up, other things going on in the NBA. If you have NBA buddies, right? If you have players that are, in the league over, if you have friends that are in the league over there, right? You're telling, like, hey, like, for instance, someone like, Joe Ingles, very random, but Joe Ingles, I need you to hit 3 threes tonight. You know what I'm saying? I got you on the parlay. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that, bro. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, and vice versa for NBA players, with NFL players. So I just feel like athletes in general should not be gambling on, these professional sports. Casino gambling is fine, you know what I'm saying? But I just feel like it's just too many loopholes that can hop around if they were to allow that. So I think the NFL did a very good job of just saying, hey, no gambling right now. And they're still going to find ways to move around this, right? I mean, I think the biggest thing that was that players might not have been getting caught gambling if they didn't gamble on, NFL property, right? I mean, these players will go gamble,
Right.
they'll do parlay
In the
picks
building.
in the building. Like, if you were doing this at home or away from the facilities, then this might have never been an issue. You know what I'm saying? But getting caught like that is pretty bad. So going forward, I think they should just eliminate gambling in general for all professional athletes. You know what I'm saying? And just stick to casino stuff.
Yeah, I definitely hear both sides of the argument. I think I lean more in the opposite direction of you, though. I think if an NFL player wants to gamble on horse racing, the NHL, the NBA, even though a lot of these guys are buddy and that there's loopholes like you alluded to. Look, if people want to do something, they're going to find a way to do it, right? So me personally, I don't have a problem as long as an athlete is not betting within their sport, right? I think it should be fair game. But at the end of the day, I also understand the circumstances of, hey, you know what? If we're going to eliminate one thing, just eliminate it all, right? Just going to be a very strict policy about it. And we're going to be, very hard about how tough that rule is going to be, right? You enforce a rule, you assert it a certain way. And if you violate that rule, there's going to be consequences to it. And, like I said, I definitely understand both sides of it. I just am more so on the side. If you don't bet within your sport, I don't see as much of an issue with it too. But like I said, it is what it is. Now let's continue moving on to the rest of the week 4 slate. Early game, Jaguars beat the Atlanta Falcons in London, the first of 2 games in London for the Jaguars in back-to-back weeks. The Jaguars came out victorious and they won that game 23-7.
Yeah, I mean, the Jaguars just took care of a lesser opponent, right? I mean, they're a favorite to win this game. I was comfortable coming into this matchup. I just wanted to see the offense, put up points in the red zone. They still had trouble doing that, unfortunately. This offensive line played better. Anton Harrison probably had his best game of the season. So did Brandon Scherf. But the other guys on the offensive line are still struggling a bit. And also Walker Little played pretty well too. But you get Ken Robinson back. You have Tyler Shatley in there now. So maybe they're going to figure out a way to get their best 5 out there. So they're probably going to go, in my opinion, they're going to go Cam, Walker, probably Shatley at center. You know what I'm saying? I think they should start him over Luke Fortner, because Luke Fortner has not shown to me anything in year 2. Then you go Scherfs, and then you go Anton Harrison. So, I think that's their best, 5 lineup out there, and that gives you the best ability to protect Trevor Lawrence, because I think in win shares, I think we're still one of the worst offensive lines in the league, right? I think we rank like 20th in pass protection, and also like 26th in run blocking. So, it's been definitely troublesome so far, but with the franchise quarterback that's able to uplift the deficiencies you have in those key areas, it doesn't look as bad as it could, right? So defensively, they played lights out. Desmond Ridder had 2 interceptions, one being a pick six that Darius Williams housed, which was big time for him. He could have had another one as well, but he dropped it. But the defense played a lot better. I think Chad Muma played okay in the, step in for Devin Lloyd. He had some big time pass deflections. He did get shook up and open the field, but overall his pass coverage skills that he was really known for at Wyoming stood up, and he definitely has some big time tip passes. Other than that, though, I just feel as if you got a big test this Sunday back in London. Got the Buffalo Bills coming in off a big time win against the Miami Dolphins at their home field. This is definitely going to be big match. I told you this is one of my 5 games I spoke about in the preseason about the
Mhm.
Jaguars. Like, you got to face the Chiefs, Bills, Bengals, Niners, and Ravens this year, man. How are you going to fare off on those 5 games against teams that can potentially make a playoff run, or also be in a championship game? So, got to go 1-1. I will hope they beat the Bills. I'll give my prediction later. But as of right now, I like what I saw, but the red zone offense has to continue to get better, man, because I not like what I've seen so far.
Yeah, speaking of the red zone offense, the Jaguars are 44% in the red zone conversion in terms of touchdowns, 26 in the NFL, right? Not good enough. And we saw how much they struggled in the red zone versus Kansas City, versus the Houston Texans. Just clearly not a good enough job. But you know what? They took care of an inferior opponent in the Atlanta Falcons, a team that's still got a lot of talent, right? But they're obviously kind of handicapped right now, kind of handcuffed with Desmond Ritter and his, I guess, limits as a quarterback as of right now, because he's still an
Mhm,
extremely young quarterback, right? I'm not ready to write this guy completely off. I think he's still got a lot of talent and still
mhm,
has a lot to show, even
mhm,
with a very talented offensive core around him. Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Tyler Algier, the list goes on. But
mhm,
for the Jaguars, I do think that the defense is going to have to continue to flip field position, create turnovers, because the Jaguars, I believe, are +4 in turnover differential. I believe that they're top 5 in the NFL in takeaways. The
mhm,
Jaguars defense, the exception of the Houston Texans game in week 3, has created multiple turnovers in every single matchup. Like you
mhm,
alluded to, with Darius Williams had a huge pick six, could have potentially had another interception. Josh Allen has the strip fumble. He's tied for first in the NFL in sacks right now. He's playing
mhm,
phenomenal. Andre Cisco's had a great start to the season. A lot of guys are doing their job, and defensively, you like what the Jaguars are doing. Now it's on the offense, who's kind of struggled to really get things going through the first 4 weeks, to continue to step it up, especially when you have such a talented offensive skill position players around Trevor Lawrence. Things will get figured out, and it looks like things are heading in the right direction. This is a huge matchup for the Jaguars in week 5 versus the Buffalo
mhm.
Bills, and we'll get into that in a little bit later. Now,
Yeah.
moving into the next matchup in week 4, we got the Miami Dolphins at the Buffalo Bills, a very highly anticipated AFC East showdown, and the Dolphins came up extremely short. Essentially,
Mhm,
the complete opposite of what had happened the previous week, where the Dolphins beat the Broncos 70-20. The Dolphins lose to the Buffalo Bills 48-20.
mhm. Well, my only takeaway is, I mean, it's not gonna like just knock off what we've seen from the Dolphins these last few weeks,
Mhm,
right? They're still a very dominating team. I think they have still the best offense in football. I just
mhm.
think they went up against a very, very stout defense, man. And the Buffalo Bills have been hearing a lot of talk this entire offseason, right? We saw it in this game, man. Those players play with a lot of attitude. They play with confidence. And they said, hey, man, to proven otherwise, this AFC East is ours. You know what I'm saying? So they went out there, made a statement win. But as for the Miami Dolphins, man, I think it's about time that Vic Fangio has to hold his end of the bargain, man. I mean, this defense is not good as of right now. I know they don't have Jalen Ramsey, but they're not getting the best out of the players they currently have on the field, right? Bradley Chubb has been really, underwhelming since he got traded to the Miami Dolphins, right? Their cornerback play with Cater Coho and Xavier Howard has been, subpar so far this season. Not subpar, it's been like, average so far this season. You know what I'm saying? So, Javon Holland's been a very good safety, but he had an underwhelming game against the Buffalo Bills. So, just quite frankly, man, this Dolphins defense is bad and it's not good enough right now, and it's
There we go.
costing.
That's
It's
not good
going
enough.
to it's going to continue to cost them when it matters most in games, because their offense can score. But at one point during this game, the Buffalo Bills and Miami Dolphins were just punting. Both teams were punting, back and forth. Right, neither offense was getting going, but eventually, the better defense stood the test. You know what I'm saying? The Bills, was able to hold out the Dolphins a lot longer than the Dolphins could hold out the Bills offense, and the Bills just be able to just put up points when it mattered most. So. I think Vic Fangio needs to get through his defense, man. It's a quarter through the season right now, right? They're currently 3-1. They're still a very good team. But this Dolphins defense, man, they want to make it to the championship. They want to make a deep playoff run. They have to get better defensively, because this offense, yeah, they can put up, X amount of points each weekend, but they can't stop anybody. I mean, it's all for nothing. So, you know, that's my only takeaway, man. The Dolphins defense has to get better.
Yeah, I think my takeaway with it is, yes, I agree with everything you said. Not really worried about the Dolphins long term, short term. Like, as long as Tua continues to stay healthy, stay upright, even though that Bills pass rush was getting after him, right? I still think that the Miami Dolphins are the second best team in the AFC East, still a very good and perennial contender in the AFC. But the Buffalo Bills, this just shows yet again, they're still the best team in the AFC East, right? They still have a top 4 type of quarterback in Josh Allen, who when he's
Top
playing
two. Top two, in my
when
opinion,
he's
man.
playing like his best, he's a
Mm-hmm.
top 2, top 3. But when he's playing bad, he does not look anywhere near what he
Mm-hmm.
should be playing, right? And we saw that in week 1, but we also see that in week 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think this game is more so about the Buffalo Bills than it is the Miami Dolphins. You need to see the Dolphins bounce back offensively, defensively, but the Buffalo Bills still show that they're one of the perennial teams and the contenders in the AFC, and nothing's really changed except for the Miami Dolphins getting better and the New York Jets kind of falling flat on their face after Aaron Rodgers in the AFC East. Now let's get into another matchup where the Chicago Bulls, the
Shout out to
Chicago
the Bulls,
Bears blew
man.
the Chicago Bears blew a 21-point second half lead. You had 4 Justin Fields touchdowns. 3 of them came in the first half. Doing a great job. It looked like the Bears were finally going to get their win, and they went full Caleb Williams tank mode. Matt Eberflus just said, you know what? Enough winning. Let's go ahead and give this game to Sean Payton and the Russell Wilson and company. They lose that game 31-28 at home.
I mean, just if as a Jaguars fan, we've seen this before, right? We've been through these before. Just embarrassing loss. They're currently on a 14-game losing streak dating back to last season. And they're just finding new and different ways to lose. And obviously, this had to be one of the most gut-wrenching losses they've had probably in quite some years, man. I mean, you're up by 3 scores. Justin Fields is having an amazing performance, right? He is just out there balling, playing out of his mind. And then a second half, most notably late in the third quarter, you go conservative football, right? You play not to lose instead of playing to win. And I hate coaches that do that because it's a sign of a very bad coach, in my opinion, right? I mean, Matt Eberflus, defensively, they play a lot more zone. They drop back in coverage. They're playing a lot more softer than they were at the beginning of the game. The Broncos, were able to put up points in a hurry. And then when the momentum started to shift a bit, started to close in a little bit, Justin Fields gets the ball. They're running the football, right? And they have like a 3rd and 15 or like a 3rd and 10, right? Long distance, from the first down marker, drops back to pass. Free edge rusher comes off the side, ends up getting a strip sack, return for a touchdown. That pretty much just summarizes the game right there, man. I mean, conservative play calling, as well as having a quarterback that has not been able to show you that he can, really overcome adversity in a game. This team in general can't, in my opinion, but the quarterback play with Justin Fields, even though he played amazing, it's a bit unfair to ask for him and say, oh, yeah, Justin, we were up 3 touchdowns, but can you still will us to find us a way to win this game? Yeah, of course you want your franchise quarterback to do that, but he hasn't shown you that at all so far in his career, right? So, I just feel like he's unable to lift. Bottom line is, I just feel as if he's unable to lift the deficiencies this team has in totality, right? I mean, Matt Eberflus is terrible. Luke Jesse is terrible. They should have been fired this past Monday, but they're going to ride out, like you mentioned in a pre-show, that they're just going to continue to tank for Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr., right? They don't want to ruin their draft stock,
As they should.
Yeah, so they're going to keep Matt in there as long as they can. And unfortunately for Justin Fields, man, it's going to be a very tiresome season, man. Gotta feel bad for the kid, bro, because it's becoming unfair at this point. I still believe he's a good quarterback. I don't believe he's ass. I don't believe he's terrible. I just don't feel as if he's enough to uplift the deficiencies the Bears have on display, and that's fine. Put him somewhere else. Put him in Atlanta or Arthur Smith and those playmakers. Put him out there in Pittsburgh with, Jalen Warren, Najee Harris, and a new OC with Pickens and Deontay Johnson and Mike Tomlin's, leadership. I mean, put him somewhere else, man. But as of right now with the Chicago Bears, he is not enough to uplift the deficiencies of this franchise, man. They have to go in a different direction after this year. But Bears fans, you got about 13 more games. So, man, it's going to be a very long and grueling season. But it gets better because, hopefully Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr. will be on the way here next season.
Watch because they have the Panthers pick as well too, right? So let's say they have 2 top 3 picks. Watch them find a way to screw up getting the number 1 overall pick.
I think ownership
how the Jets did in 2020 when they could have had an opportunity to get Trevor, and obviously Trevor ends up in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I mean, I think ownership would have to step in at some point to say, "Hey, man,
no.
we're not going to screw this up. Like Ryan Poles, if you do anything
Mhm.
dumb, you're fired. You know what I'm saying? And I think he should be in question as well, man. These decision makings he's done so far in his tenure have been so
Very suspect.
Man. Chase Claypool is a disaster, right? He's gone. He should be gone in a few weeks, right? They traded from last year, sent over a first-round pick. He's no longer going to be there anymore, right? They didn't do a good job of addressing this defense enough, in my opinion. Yeah, they brought in Tremaine Edmonds and also TJ Edwards, but this defense in totality is still pretty ass. They have nothing up front. They have zero pass rush. I mean, the playmakers are cool, but the scheme is terrible. So, just overall, man, I think this needs to be a complete wholesale change, and also with the quarterback situation as well, it needs to be changed going forward, man. They just need to continue to scrap this whole Justin Fields tenure and go in a different direction next season. As of right now, through the first 4 games, that's my take.
So does that mean that they should trade Fields at the deadline, or does that mean that they ride it out with him this season?
Well, I think Justin Fields is too damn good, in my opinion, to just be winless this season.
Damn good quarterback.
He's going to get you because at some point, Justin Fields is going to say, "Fuck it." Right, I'm just going to go out there and play my game like he did last year, because they had a terrible start last year, right?
Yes.
Then all of a sudden, after like week 4, he started running the ball. He hasn't done that at all this year. At some point, Fields is going to say, "F all this. I'm about to go for $110 on the ground and 170 yards passing, and I'm going to figure out a way to win this game." And it's going to happen sooner or later. So at some point, they need to look at their situation and say, "Hey, we're in a position right now. We're 1-6 or 1-7. We want to solidify the first overall pick, at least. Justin Fields, let's go ahead and trade you to the Steelers because Kenny Pickett is now hurt, right?
Let's keep him in the NFC. Let's keep him in the NFC. Let him go to Atlanta.
Send him to Atlanta. Now that depends where Atlanta's at this point, because if Atlanta's let's say Atlanta's a little bit up below 500, right, and Desmond Ritter's still not working out, they might go Taylor Heineke. They brought him in the offseason, right, and he's a serviceable backup. So
they should go Taylor Heineke right now, but okay.
Yeah, they should, but Arthur Smith is pretty incompetent himself, and he should be fired as well. So, I think Justin Fields is definitely no longer going to be a Bear within the next calendar year. So he could be traded at this point this season before the trade deadline, but we'll see. But overall, man, I mean, Caleb Williams is going to be in Chicago here soon, and I don't mean to continue this rant, but it's so unfortunate, man, because I don't feel as if Fields deserves
he didn't get a fair
this,
opportunity.
No. He didn't get a fair opportunity, man. He's not He's not a Jameis Winston, in my opinion. He's not a Marcus Mariota, where he just flat out failed the organization
or
he was
RG3
at,
continuously,
or an RG3, do it. No, it's just he just went to quarterback hell. I mean, the Bears have not been able to produce a good quarterback in the last 30 years of their franchise. Rex Grossman, Jay Cutler, that's it. They're not. I mean, they're historic.
Jay Cutler was not all of that. Jay Cutler was just good enough. Just good enough.
Yeah, he was cool. Jay Cutler was like Ryan Tannehill. He was cool.
Yeah,
he was okay.
Ryan Tannehill,
yeah, some years you might say, "Hey, Jay Cutler, you might be a top 10 quarterback." Other years you're like, "Man, how the F are you still out here?" You know what I'm saying? Rex Grossman leaned on a very good defense, had some good playmakers around him offensively, and they went on a Super Bowl run. But the Bears aren't known for they're like the Cleveland Browns at this point, man.
Sits on the training bike in the middle of a playoff game at home.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, at some point the Bears just have to be honest with themselves, man. We cannot produce quarterbacks at all, dog. So it's unfortunate. I think Fields is a very good talent.
I think he's still a great quarterback with great arm talent, great mobility. He's just in the wrong situation with the wrong coach, with a franchise that's not giving him any help.
Yeah.
And it's just unfortunate because people are going to label him a bust and a running back merchant and everything he can do to ridicule a young man.
I just don't think that Fields. I think the biggest thing about him, his time clock, his mental clock is still pretty bad, in my opinion. He needs to get the ball out faster.
Coaching,
but at some point, scheme. I think it reflects back to coaching as well, because I don't think this is his scheme. Like, he needs to play in a scheme that Shane Steichen has for Anthony Richardson, right? He needs to play in a very quick action scheme, no time to diagnose. Because
even a Kyle Shanahan. Even a Kyle Shanahan spread out offense.
Yeah, some quarterbacks just can't diagnose a defense fast enough to get the ball out, and that's nothing wrong with that. Exactly. So you need to give him a more scheme friendly that equates to his game, and I think they will, whatever they hire next year. Hopefully Ben Johnson or Eric Bieniemy, someone, because they need to go offense instead of defense to get a proven play caller that can actually get their quarterback situation right, rather if it's Fields or Caleb Williams or Drake May or whatever, man. So,
and speaking of that, look at how great Eric Bieniemy's been doing in Washington, and look at how much struggle there's been in Kansas City on that offensive side of the ball.
I mean, look at Sam Howell this year.
I get it. It's Sky Moore, MVS, and Kadarius Toney. I get it. Or Rashid Rice as well too, right?
Yeah.
I get it. But look at the work that Eric Bieniemy's doing for Sam Howell,
Yeah.
Jahan Dotson, Brian Robinson Jr., and the rest of this core. Like,
I
it's
mean,
wonders, man. It really does.
it's a lot of good play calls out there, man. I mean, you have, like I said, Eric Bieniemy, you have Ben Johnson, you have
You
David
got Press
Canales.
Taylor.
Dave Canales from the Buccaneers, the Houston Texans coordinator right now. He's doing really well with CJ Stroud. I mean, there's a lot of good coordinators out there that's going to be, in the contention for head coaching gigs next year. And I think they'll all fit well in Chicago, which whatever direction they go next with the quarterback situation. So
Right.
yeah.
Last thing we do before we move on to the next thing, and we'll fly through them, right? Because we spent a lot of time on this topic, and it's a good topic to talk about, right?
Absolutely.
With Justin Fields, though, really quickly. So you say ride it out with him this season. My thing is, if we're already assuming the Bears are going to be a top 2 bottom team, right? They're going to likely get the number 1 overall pick. They're going to select Caleb Williams or a Drake May, whoever they end up wanting to pick, right? If they're already in the mindset of tank or getting the top quarterback that we evaluated and we're going to select that prospect, then why even ride out with Justin Fields the rest of the season? Even if he continues to progress, which he's going to progress, right? Why at that point would any team want to trade for him? And his value is going to be even lower versus midseason where, okay, he's still a top 15 pick, right? We know Justin Fields has the talent, the capabilities. This is not a Sam Darnold. This is not a Baker Mayfield, right? He's produced. We see he can be. He's just not in the right situation. So you're on the ride him out for the rest of the season, pause. And then I'm on the let's trade him at the deadline, not because it's on him, but because I think the Bears organization is already tanked. If the Bears start winning, I'm sure Bears fans are going to be pissed. They don't want to win at this point. So
yeah.
Why do you say that?
I don't really know if I believe they should ride out with him or trade him. I'm on the fence on both. I really don't know what they should do because I
get
think
as much value as you can for now. Get as much draft capital as you can for now.
Well, in my honest opinion, I do believe no matter what it is, I think his draft capital is still pretty high. I think you can still
high.
I think you can still get a 3rd or 2nd round for him. If Trey Lance goes for a 4th round pick, I think Justin Fields can go for a 2nd or 3rd. I mean, the talent is there. I mean, this guy, if anything, he's still a top 2 Russian quarterback in the NFL, right? I just think you have to look at his film, right? Can you bring him in and can you change what happens going forward with his development? I think you can because he has a strong arm. He throws with good anticipation when he is, given the time as well. And also,
the arm talent is there.
Yeah,
we've seen it from Ohio State.
And
look at the track of receivers he had at Ohio State versus now.
Yeah. And of course, the thing that he's a decisive playmaker as well with the football in his hand. So I just think
get him a Chris Olave, man. Get him just something like he had.
It would be nice if he can go to the Saints, but they're so in cap hell. I really want to see him in Pittsburgh, man. That's my agenda. I'm pushing.
Keep him out of the AFC. Keep him out of the AFC.
I want to see him in Pittsburgh. I do. I'm sorry, man.
I want to see him in Atlanta. Him and
Atlanta will be nice too.
And Kyle Pitts can actually get the ball.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like they have that connection. Kyle Pitts and Justin Fields are really cool friends outside of football. So, I'm wherever he needs to be going, man. I just think his time in Chicago is coming to an end very soon. And like I said, who knows? It depends where the Falcons are at the trade deadline. Do they feel as if they still have a solid team? They just need a quarterback to come in and just, push them forward. I would love it. But at the same time, we don't really see, I can't tell you the last time we've seen a quarterback that is a top 15, top 20 guy that's a starting quarterback in this league get traded to a team in the NFL mid-season. I don't know when the last time this happened, right? It's usually like, receivers, edge rushers, running backs, but quarterback, man, that's tough.
I mean, Baker got traded last season from the Browns?
Did he get traded or released?
No, it was from the Panthers. Did the Panthers? No, the Panthers, did they release him?
I think they released him.
No, wait, no. The Browns, they traded. I'm trying to think. The Browns originally traded him to Carolina.
Yeah, in the offseason.
And then Carolina released him.
And
then he signed with the Rams, and then now he's with the Buccaneers. That's what it was.
So they're not going to release him.
Doesn't even feel like he was even there. I forgot he was even
there.
there.
Yeah, he was there for a little brief moment. He played like ass, but he's back in full form now.
It looks he's about to come back down to reality, man. He's about to come back down to reality.
We'll see, man. I see Geno Smith part 2. But anyways, real quick though, before we end this discussion, man, I just feel like as if it's going to be hard to see him being traded to a different team in the middle of the season, learning a different playbook. You know what I'm saying? So
it's not having a repertoire with the receivers, the coaching. Yeah. I'm not thinking for it. I'm not thinking like, yes, trade him. I'm thinking in the mindset of the future of the Chicago Bears moving and as much draft capital and you're going to get, I think you should still stick with Justin Fields. I don't think you should go and take a Caleb Williams or a Drake May or whatever, even as one of the bottom teams, because I still think Justin Fields is the guy. You just need to get the right coaching and the right system around him, right? But there's also no reason to not say, you know what, he's going into his 4th year. We're going to have to pay this guy. If we want to continue to pay this guy, let's restart. Let's brand new culture, brand new head coaches, brand new coordinators, get a quarterback on a rookie-friendly deal, and then let's restart this whole process again. But you're putting yourself right back in the exact same position when you traded up multiple picks to the New York Giants in order to go get Justin Fields in the first place. So you already put yourself in that bad predicament. I don't see a problem with it either way. They're not going to trade him midseason, but I do think that if you're looking at the immediate future, the immediate success of what the Chicago Bears need is get as much draft capital as possible while he's got as much value as possible, and then also put yourself in a better position in order to get the number 1 overall pick. Don't give yourself any chances of winning any games. And Justin Fields gives you a chance to be in every game.
I tell you one thing, man, going back to your decision on bringing him back next year, Ryan Poles didn't draft this guy. So this isn't his quarterback, right? He's not tied to him whatsoever with his tenure. So if he feels as if he can move on from him and get better and get a quarterback of his picking, then he's definitely going to do it.
And that's valid. I would not blame him for taking a Caleb Williams.
Yeah. So we'll definitely see how that goes.
We'll see how everything shakes up, though. But great talk on the Chicago Bears. That was definitely much needed. Let's kind of fly through the rest of these games as well, too. The Baltimore Ravens beat a Deshaun Watson-less Cleveland Browns team. Lamar Jackson just, playing a very good game yet again, leading the Baltimore Ravens to a very good record to start off the season. They win that game 28-3.
Yeah, I mean, Lamar Jackson's quietly having a very great start to the season, man. He is top 5 in MVP.
As he should be.
Contention right now, in my opinion. He is leading these boys. And like I've always said during the preseason, man, when the Ravens are healthy, they're always going to be one of the best teams in the AFC. And that's what they are right now, man. They're a top 3 team in the AFC. I think they're better than the Chiefs. I think they're only behind the Dolphins and Bills, in my opinion, man. This Ravens team is putting it together. Lamar Jackson is quarterbacking out there, making some big-time throws. This offense looks fun. And defensively, they're getting healthier and they're getting better. And, they are, they have a 2-game lead in the division right now. They just beat the Bengals and the Browns, so that's a big time going forward for them for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and like I said, kind of going into the season, Lamar Jackson was going to be in my MVP discussion, but I did have him winning Offensive Player of the Year. I think Lamar Jackson's still right there in that race. He's doing some great things with the development of Zay Flowers. Mark Andrews coming back, I believe it was week 3. Him getting ingratiated back into the offense, man. This Ravens team, when they're healthy, because that's the big thing, is a very lethal team and obviously one of the best teams in the AFC. Cleveland, without Deshaun Watson, I didn't expect them to go in there and to win this game. They obviously need their franchise quarterback in there to even be competitive, and then offense could not get anything going. So not even upset with the way Cleveland performed. Into the next matchup, the Cincinnati Bengals laid a goose egg at Nissan Stadium. They lost to the Tennessee Titans 27-3.
Yeah, I mean, I made a video about this on TikTok, dog. This might be another rant, but
go ahead.
Someone needs to be held accountable, and that person is Joe Burrow. In my honest opinion, it is Joe Burrow. Zach Taylor has come out and said he is healthy enough to run this scheme. And I think he needs to be held accountable as well because Zach Taylor has been called some awful games. And preseason talk, when he initially had this calf strain, Jamar Chase said, hey, I don't want to see Joe Burrow back until week 5 of the NFL season.
Yep.
I want him to hold out like I did last year when I had my injury. I think he had like a hip injury or something like that, right? And he came back good enough to contend and compete for a championship, and that really helped out the Bengals last year. I mean, at this point, this Bengals team is 1-3, right? They probably would have been 1-3 with Jake Browning at this point, but Joe Burrow would have been healthier, right? And he would have been going on an easier path for the schedule because they're not then to play the Cardinals, and I forgot who they play after that, but it's kind of that not as tough start to the season where as we get into like the after the quarter of the season beginning. So, but Joe Burrow's playing terrible, man, and it's time to hold him accountable, right? At this point, he's become a liability to this team. He's not given enough time to throw the football right now because the offensive line is still putrid. However, his mobility has taken a big hit because he is injured, right? He's become a one-read quarterback. And if he's a one-read quarterback, he's a sitting duck because he never was a really mobile guy anyways, but he was good enough to have
He was good enough to, escape and evade, but never
maneuver in the pocket.
Really,
Exactly. But now that he has basically playing on one leg, he's out there just a sitting duck, man. And teams understand that, and this offense has become unable to push the ball down the field field throughout the duration of a game. This running attack needs to be leaned on more. I think Joe Mixon is having a okay start to the season, but they need to lean more on Joe Mixon, Chase Brown, and whoever their other running back is in that backfield, man, because obviously Joe Burrow cannot perform. I think Zach Taylor needs to do a better job of executing the game plan, putting the game plan together, and Joe Burrow needs to do a better job of handling the game plan, man, because he's playing ass right now, right? Yeah, the Cardinals coming up. The Cardinals are no slack. They're no joke. They're going to play you tough. You could lose this game as well. Mm-hmm. But as of right now, man, we need to hold Joe Burrow accountable, man. I think right now, I want to say he's like, I saw the stat line yesterday. Hold on, let me pull it up.
Who's more to blame while you're pulling it up? Who's more to blame, Zach Taylor or Joe Burrow?
It's Joe Burrow.
You sound Joe Burrow.
I think it's Joe Burrow.
Look, I disagree. Right now, I'm not. I think Joe Burrow, when he's healthy, still top 3, top 4 quarterback in the game, right? And he's not been healthy. And look, that's on Joe Burrow for actually putting himself as a liability back there on the field. Because I was a huge advocate before the season, like Jamar Chase, and we talked about don't put him out there. Your first 2 games are divisional games. We understand you're probably not going to win those games, right? Rest up, be healthy, right? I understand you want to go out there, be a competitor, show the team that you're willing to play through injury, like every NFL player does. But when you have a serious calf strain, especially at the quarterback position, it's a marathon, not a sprint. We're counting on you in December, January, and to get into February. I don't care about September, October if you're Joe Burrow. I understand you got your money, but you're putting the team in a much more difficult predicament by putting yourself out there with a calf strain, with a major significant injury, and one wrong movement, you're out for the season. And you're out for another 12, 14, 15 months trying to recover. And then you're still putting Jamar Chase and the rest of these receivers in a even worse predicament. And he was pissed off in that press game post conference as well, too, in the locker room when he was complaining about not getting the ball and being open. Yeah. And I would too if I'm the top 3 receiver in the game of football. So
exactly,
the criticism is valid. Zach Taylor, Joe Burrow, they all need to be held accountable. My thing is, I'm not concerned about Joe Burrow's play because I know when he's healthy, he is that guy, but he's not. And he's not going to be healthy at all this season if he keeps playing. Yeah. And that's on him, but that's on Zach Taylor for allowing him to go out there. If you're the head coach, you make the overriding decision. Your ass is not getting out there. You're not even dressing for the game. You might go through warm-ups, but your ass is not getting dressed up, bro. Sit on the sideline with an earpiece in your headset.
Yeah.
And that's it. And we're going to go out there and we're just going to ride 1 and 3. Maybe y'all got lucky and went 2 and 2. Who knows? But that's on Zach Taylor, in my opinion. Any last thoughts you got to say about that?
Well, yeah, I got 2 more things. I think they would have had a better shot with Jake Browning or whoever their quarterback 2 is. And maybe they didn't do a good job of addressing the quarterback 2 in the offseason. That's why Zach Taylor doesn't feel confident enough to put a quarterback 2 out there right now. But I feel as if at that point, it would have been easier start to the season because opposing defenses would have had a tougher time game planning around a quarterback that's not on their film, right? But as of right now, this Bengals offense at Joe Burrow, starting off with Joe Burrow, he has the lowest passer rating in the NFL right now at 69.1. Last in passing yards out of 4 quarterbacks that started this season. My bad. Out of all quarterbacks that started 4 games this season with 728 yards, 5th worst QBR in the NFL, tied for the least amount of touchdowns, passing touchdowns that is, at 2 touchdowns, lowest yards per attempt at 4.8. And the Bengals offense is last in points per game, averaging 12.5. So overall, man, I mean, it's not going to get any better. So
it's not. It's going to only get worse.
So at this point, I think the Bengals need to realize, like, hey, put up or shut up. If you want to play, F it. Go out there and play, but it's time to deliver. And I'm not making no more excuses. If Zach Taylor wants to roll him out there, if Joe Burrow wants to play, no excuses on my part. Play better. If not, I mean, you just cost your team a good chance to make a championship run in a window where
exactly. Now you can't afford to lose games when you should be coming back by now, right? Or maybe last week you would have made your debut, bro. You would have been a lot better, right? Everyone would have felt a lot more confident about you running out there versus week 1, and just you guys absolutely just fell flat on your face versus Cleveland too. Go ahead.
One more last thing before we move on. I think this is going to be the tip of the iceberg for the Bengals' future, in my opinion, because T. Higgins is not having a good start to the season, and he's due a contract extension.
Man. What can I say, bro?
This year.
Hopefully,
that'll be beautiful.
Him and Trevor are going to be reunited.
That'll be beautiful. So T. Higgins is more likely not coming back next year, right? Jamar Chase is set for a payday as well next year. Joe Mixon might be going after this year. I think this is the last of we've seen of the Bengals as their current core right now, man, of this season. Also, Orlando Brown Jr. has been a terrible free agent pickup. He's been terrible, atrocious.
Just as bad as Jawan Taylor.
So, I mean, the Bengals are in tough shape right now, man. It's unfortunate because their defense is playing lights out. So, we'll see how it turns out. But through the quarter of the season, man, they've been definitely one of the most disappointing teams in football right now.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair analysis. Let's kind of move on. Like I said, let's kind of try to run through the
Mm-hmm.
rest of these week 4 matchups that we had. We had the Los Angeles Rams at the Indianapolis Colts, getting a nice overtime win against the Indianapolis Colts, 29-23.
Yeah, we saw a little offensive rookie of the year battle. Anthony Richardson play
Mm-hmm.
amazing in that second half. Damn near made a comeback win. Puka Nacua, I mean, my goodness, dog. He is having an amazing
Can't say
start to his
enough.
NFL career. It's unfortunate Cooper Kupp is coming back because his minutes and his targets might drop
Receptions.
down a bit. Yeah, they might.
They will
Yeah,
significantly.
yeah. But Puka Nacua, man, he has turned into an amazing wide receiver 2 for this team. And I'm loving what I'm seeing from the young guy, man. But AR, he didn't really have the best, completion percentage, but he balled out. He had 2 touchdowns,
Mhm.
over 20 yards passing. Made it fun out there for this Colts team, man. I mean, but fortunately enough, the Rams won, and everybody's tied for 2-2 in the AFC South right now.
Which is completely unexpected. And I just want to give a big shout out, man, to Anthony Richardson. I knew going into the season, man, like he's gonna give the Indianapolis Colts a chance to be in every game because he's that good, he's that
Mm-hmm.
athletic, that dynamic, to where his NFL talent that he possesses already,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be enough to help keep the Indianapolis competitive every single week. And obviously, it's gonna take more time for him to develop, man. So just big
Mm-hmm.
shout out to him, man. Like I said, once Cooper Kupp gets back involved into this offense, I mean, the Rams look like a damn good team. This is not the Rams team that I think a lot of us expected going into the season, man. Sean McVay's got these guys ready to play, and I wonder how this affects Tutu Atwell too moving forward.
Real quick. The Colts have a team that is, in my opinion, good enough to compete in the AFC South in totality, right? But
Mhm.
does AR give them the best chance to go for a playoff spot, or do they need to give Gardner Minshew some more run?
If they were to make a playoff push,
Mm-hmm. Does Anthony Richardson give them a better opportunity to make a playoff push over Gardner Minshew?
110%,
Think so?
100%. Yeah, because look, if you need Gardner Minshew for 2, 3, 4 games, you know what I'm saying? Like there's a minor injury, minor little setback. You need Minshew. Hey, hold it down. 2, 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? You need to go out there get at least 1, maybe 2 wins would be great. Nah, like you would use Minshew for that. Sustainable for a season? Absolutely not. Minshew's not
Okay.
holding it down for a whole season, and I love him. You know what I'm saying? But especially in that offense, and he's looked really good in that offense when he's gotten his reps. No, it's just no.
I got you.
What do you think? Just really quickly.
I think they're in a crossroads right now, man. I think Shane Steichen has the development piece in AR. He can really work with him and win, but they're not going to make a playoff
Get
this
him
year. I
those
think if
reps,
they did
and
have
they don't
Gardner
need to.
Minshew,
They don't need
yeah,
to.
yeah, exactly. He needs his reps, but I think if they did have Gardner Minshew with the talent they have offense and defensively, with Shane Steichen's amazing head coaching ability so far, I think they could possibly challenge for a wild card spot if Gardner was a starting quarterback. So that's my
I
take on it,
disagree.
though.
I disagree, but I mean, Min should be good enough just to be serviceable and
Yeah,
just keep it like that, though. But
yeah.
let's move into another really surprising team off to a 3-1 start. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat the New Orleans Saints, I think, for now 3 straight times. And that
Mm.
is now a franchise record for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They beat the New Orleans Saints 26-9.
Oh man, I mean, start off with the Saints real quick. Derek Carr shouldn't have been starting that game. He was obviously injured. He was a liability out there
Clearly,
as well. I don't know why these quarterbacks that are playing injured are deciding to go out there. I know they have that competitive edge and that competitive nature, but you're costing your team wins. Jameis Winston should have started this game. They probably would have won this game if Jameis Winston would have started. But regardless of the fact, though, Baker Mayfield's been playing amazing football for the Buccaneers so far this season. He has over 800 yards passing. He has a very high completion percentage. He has like 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I mean, this team is 3-1. Like I said before the season began, this is a Seattle Seahawks part 2. Everybody wrote off this Buccaneers
I wrote the
squad,
team off. I wrote them
saying
off.
that they were going to be a top 5 pick and grabbing someone like
Mhm.
Drake May or Michael Penix Jr. And no, Baker said none of that, man. They came in. He is playing good football. And I said that this is the best set of weapons he had at his arsenal, really, during his whole duration in the NFL. Now, of course, he had OBJ, Nick Chubb, Jarvis Landry during his time in
And
Cleveland.
David
He
and
made a
Joku
playoff,
too.
and David Njoku, and he made a playoff with that team. But this is obviously, in my opinion, defensively and offensively, the best team he's had put together during his time in the NFL, man. The
That's a hard
Buccaneers,
disagree, but okay. That's a hard
the
disagree, but
Buccaneers
go
are
ahead.
number 1 in the NFC North right now. That division is weak, and they have a 2-game lead.
Congratulations.
Yes, they have a 2-game lead right now, or 1-game lead right now. Well, actually, no, 2 games. maybe 2-1. I don't know, but they're up in the division right now. No half game back. They're a full game ahead, man. I think it's going to continue throughout the season. I was wrong about the Buccaneers as well, a bit at an early duration of the offseason, but this Buccaneers team squad is hooping. Their defense is playing lights out, and as long as Baker keeps this up, man, they're going to be a playoff team, and they might make some noise. Who knows? Not serious noise, but they could play spoiler to a team.
They might mess around if they win the division, which obviously means you're already guaranteed a home playoff game.
Yeah,
they're going to give someone a run for their money. Let's just
for
put it
sure.
like that. They'll be good enough.
Sure.
But I'm still of the mindset, and give respect where it's due. They're 3-1. Baker's played phenomenal through the first quarter of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a large enough sample size of Baker Mayfield. I've seen him since 2018 coming into the league. He's had a lot of ups, but a lot more downs.
Mm-hmm.
I still think, and I still see with my own 2 eyes, that Baker Mayfield's not a good quarterback. Now, like I said, he's played really good through the first 4 games, so I'm going to give him his respect. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, they got the team running offensively, defensively. In the NFC South, they're probably going to win this division. I picked them as a 4 to 5 win team going into the season. I wrote them off. I could very well just be wrong. Like Chris Olave was completely ineffective in that game as well too. The Saints just got absolutely blown out, right? So give respect where it's due. Buccaneers did their thing. I can't wait to actually be in Tampa now for the Jags-Tampa game in December. So excited to see that.
Good one.
Especially if Tampa keeps playing good. Hopefully they don't play spoiler to the Jags, but that's a topic for another day. Let's move into another matchup, a game that I thought was probably the game of the week, in my opinion. The Washington Commanders at the Philadelphia Eagles. They lose that game 34-31 in overtime, but what a hell of a game that was, in my opinion.
Yeah, that was a big time game. I mean, real quick though, I mean, the Eagles have been just really, how can I say it, very fortunate in some of these games, man. They've been up and they got out to strong leads and they've been able to hold out for the duration of the rest of the game. But they've also had some comeback wins as well. This was a game that they were up big at one point or up by a significant margin, and the Commanders made a good fighting comeback, and it wasn't enough. A.J. Brown has been on the tear these last few weeks. Jalen Hurts has been playing amazing football as well. DeAndre Swift is still getting busy. Emmanuel Forbes, a rookie cornerback for the Washington Commanders, man, had a long day in the office this past Sunday. I still believe the Commanders could have won this game. Also, I think
should have won the game.
Yeah, and also I want to say they had a big-time catch. I think it was in overtime or in the fourth quarter with the game on the line that Terry McLaurin was ruled out of bounds when it was clearly a 2 feet in bounds, and the refs.
No, that was 2 feet in bounds. That was a horrible call.
Yeah, the refs waved that off. You know what I'm saying? So, it was unfortunate, but at the end of the day, we talked about it already. They scored before the end of regulation, and it should have went for 2. Ron Rivera should have played the win. Ron Rivera's, they call him a riverboat Ron. You know what I'm saying? He's always with the gambling and stuff like that. He should have gone out there and just, try to win this game, especially knowing the fact that this team has to face on Thursday Night Football this upcoming week.
Go 3-1 in the division.
Yep.
Go 3-1 in the conference, and then get that first tiebreaker over the Eagles, man. Yeah. Because then the Eagles will drop to 3-1. You put yourself in that. Yeah.
Yeah. And who knows? I mean, with Brian Robinson in your backfield, I mean, you could have just pushed that pile and you would have got him. And that would have been so uplifting for this team going forward, man. But tough loss in overtime. The Eagles prevailed, and they got a good way to bounce back this Thursday Night Football against a very bruised and battered Chicago Bears team.
Yeah, and that's something that we'll get into in a second here. But with the Washington Commanders, I think they played a phenomenal game, right? Defensively, like I said, A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts just tore up that defense. But what can you do? That's a top 3, top 4 quarterback wide receiver duo in the game of football. Commanders defense has to do a better job in that situation. But Sam Howell had this offense humming, right? Like, I mean, especially on that last drive down the field, you just got the feeling like, okay, Sam Howell's about to take this team down the field, get the guys out of bounds, right? Work the clock properly. He had a horrible throw on the second to last play of regulation. It could have damn near been intercepted. 1 second remaining on the clock. You said, you know what? Darius Slay's on that side of the field. Let me throw it the opposite way. I knew this ball was going to Jahan Dotson. Sure enough, Jahan Dotson gets the touchdown. How do you not go for 2 in that situation? Show your team that you're confident. Hey, we're on the road. We're in enemy territory. We're playing a team that just won the conference last season. Take advantage.
You beat them last year, too. You were one of the teams that beat them last year.
Take your offense and put them back out there after they just had a game-tying drive. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't let this go into overtime where anything can happen. Even though you won the toss, you didn't do anything with it, right? Eagles go down the field, kick a field goal, win the game. Put your offense back out there on the field. Whether you want to give it to Brian Robinson or not, Sam Howell just took you guys down the field. Let your young quarterback go out there and try to make a game-winning play, right? I think that's the kind of confidence you need to instill in your team and instill in your fan base. Show your guys, hey, I'm confident in you guys. You know what I'm saying? What do we work on all off season throughout OTAs and training camps to get to this moment, to get to those type of situations? And I'm going to take the extra point. And look, I understand circumstantial football. I understand the analytics behind it. But if I'm him in that situation after what had occurred, you go ahead and you try to win that game. And I think they would have won the game had they gone for two. Let's kind of move on. The Minnesota Vikings and the Carolina Panthers. Carolina still remains winless. I believe one of two winless teams in the game of football as of right now, next to the Chicago Bears. Kirk Cousins did not play a good game, but Minnesota still found a way to win 21-13.
Yeah, Kirk didn't play good, but they found a way, like you mentioned. Justin Jefferson has been an amazing start to the season, as we all knew he would be. Alexander Madison has some good games on the ground. But the Bryce Young Carolina
involved.
Yeah. Get him involved just to bring more balance to this offense, right? He should get involved in this week 5 matchup coming up. So we'll see. But Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers, man, dog. I think Frank Wright, for some odd reason, looks a bit overwhelmed out there, man. I don't know what it is. He talked about it in the presser, like something. He was being a little bit too transparent about a play that he messed up on for Adam Thielen. I guess like to call a timeout, a challenge, or something like that during the game that basically cost his team some field position, I want to say. But he seems a bit underwhelmed right now, man. I think this team might be a little too young for him. I think they are lacking veteran leadership in key areas. And it's been a struggle fest so far, right? This receiving core is still not helping out Bryce Young enough, in my opinion. Even though Bryce Young did have a costly fumble that was returned for a touchdown, he's not being helped out enough because he had times in the red zone where he's trying to get the ball to their tight end play, and their guys are dropping touchdown passes, right? You know, the receivers are dropping balls in the end zone as well. So, you know, just going forward, man, I think Scott Fitterer has a big decision to make. I made a tweet about it yesterday, and it went kind of big. I said that the Jaguars need to call up the Carolina Panthers and offer some picks for Brian Burns, man. Brian Burns is not happy there right now.
He looks
disgruntled. He hasn't got paid yet either. Or did he get paid? No, he has not got paid.
Knowledge, he's not.
Yeah, he hasn't got paid, and they're losing. I think, in my opinion, they should go ahead and move on from. I know the LA Rams tried to jump in that package last year, but they were reluctant at the time.
With what picks?
Exactly. We have picks. We have first round, second round picks, whatever is needed. I would send a first round for Brian Burns. We need pass rushing very badly. And I think Scott Fitterer should really look into that and say, hey, man, we need to build around Bryce Young. We need some draft capital. They have 0 first round picks. I don't think they even have a second round pick. If they do, it's going to be early, but, you know, they need to get some picks. So if I'm the Carolina Panthers, I'm picking up that phone call to Trent Baalke if that ever happens and trading Brian Burns to the Jags or whoever's offering him, man, because you need some picks. You need some draft capital because right now the future's looking pretty bleak for this team. Not having a first-round pick for a team that's 0-3 right now with the franchise quarterback that is in year 1 is very troublesome. Right, you right now you'll be looking at a top 2 pick in the NFL draft if you would have went Stroud or something, or they could have went Stroud as well. But anyways,
also I'm kind of drawing a blank right now. Obviously, I assume that pick went to Chicago, right?
It did, yeah. So but Chicago.
How did that pick come about though? Now that I'm thinking about it, because
so
I know DJ Moore got traded, but what was in return? Am I missing something? They moved up in the draft.
They moved up in the draft. That's what it was.
So, they moved up in the draft to go up to number 1 to get Bryce. Okay. I was thinking, where the hell did that?
Looking back, I think Bryce Young is going to be very good in this league, but it should have been Stroud or Anthony Richardson.
This is a very talented quarterback class. And I said a while ago, I still think in the years to come, I think Anthony Richardson, and I still believe it, will be the best quarterback from this class. I think it'll be Bryce Young and then CJ Stroud, but I mean, regardless, though, I mean, CJ Stroud's played phenomenal. I mean, this quarterback class looks extremely promising through 4 weeks.
It's amazing.
Still 4 weeks. Let's pump the brakes. Let's give it a full season. Let's give it 2 seasons. Carolina's going to do a better job.
Tell you one thing, it's starting off way better than the 2021 class that we hyped up a lot. You know what I'm saying? With Lawrence, Zach.
I was never in favor of Zach and Mac, but fair enough.
I believed in them, unfortunately. I thought they all went to good. I
was only on the Justin and Trevor train. Justin and Trevor. That's it. And everybody else was up for grabs. If they succeed, cool. If not, I wasn't going to be surprised. Real quick, last thing about the Carolina Panthers. The only thing is if they're going to trade Brian Burns to, let's say, a Jacksonville, a perennial contender, a team that I'm sure he would like to go to with a very good front seven that's eventually going to feature DeJuan Smoot and Devon Hamilton back in this front seven. The Jaguars are going to have to realize it's not necessarily about the draft capital you're about to give up. It's All right, we know Trevor Lawrence is about to get paid. Josh Allen's about to get paid. Tyson Campbell and Andre Sisco will need to get paid, right? Where's this money going to come from, right? So if you're going to pay a Brian Burns, that means a guy or two is going to have to walk. Calvin Ridley has to get paid.
I'm willing to let Calvin Ridley walk as of right now. I'm not going to lie to you.
All right, next topic. I'm not even going to address that.
We'll talk about that later. We'll talk about it later, man.
Not addressing that comment. Not addressing that comment. I have nothing to say about that comment. Pittsburgh at Houston. Kenny Pickett gets hurt. Houston smacks the shit out of the Pittsburgh Steelers, 30-6 at NRG Stadium.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think Jaguars fans kind of have a sigh of relief that, well, you maybe lost to a solid Texans team, right? The Texans look pretty good this year.
I said they'd be the number 2 team in the AFC South. I said they would be.
You called it. You called it, man. They might not, win any more games. Who knows? But so far this season, the Houston Texans have been a very nice surprise. Stroud is playing like rookie Justin Herbert. He's playing amazing. He might even set better records than rookie Justin Herbert. He is playing like an amazing top 10 quarterback right now in the NFL. DeMeco Ryans is getting the best out of his unit. They back-to-back weeks where they didn't allow a sack, right? You have TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith, and the Steelers could not create any pressure whatsoever.
Makes me feel better about the Jags. Makes me feel
exactly
a lot better.
Defensively, the Texans have been holding it down. I mean, it's so amazing to hear about this Texans team, knowing that they have at least 12 players on injury reserve, the most in the NFL. Their key starting linemen are out, and Titus Howard,
no Derek
Tunsil, no Derek Stingley, no Jalen Petrie, and they're still finding ways to execute and win ball games. And also, Will Anderson Jr.,
the head coach. Exactly. That's on the head coach for being a great head coach. Something
good player development. Just great things going on right now, man. I mean, they are doing some rare things right now, man. When you hit on the head coach, quarterback, and OC in the same year, man, that is something that seems simple, but it's very hard to accomplish. Real quick before I continue, man. Before we end discussion, I want to say Will Anderson hasn't got going yet. He'll get going here soon, which would be even bigger for this defense. For the Pittsburgh Steelers, man, they got to fire Matt Canada. I'm tired of talking about it. I don't even want to talk about Pittsburgh right now until they fire Matt Canada. Kenny Pickett has been atrocious so far this season. Najee Harris got going, but it didn't equate to anything. They got to fire Matt Canada, man. Mike Tomlin keeps on saying changes are going to be made. At some point, man, I think Mike Tomlin should be fired. Honestly, if he's not going to make the changes that's needed to be made, you got to go. At some point, you got to – I understand he has that coaching pedigree. He's been a very good coach in this long time in this league. But you're literally handicapping your team but continue to try out that same OC. At least demote him or something. If you want to keep – I don't know what Matt Canada has on this franchise, but at least demote him. Let somebody else call plays because right now, Matt Canada is doing nothing.
He's blackmailing somebody. He's blackmailing somebody.
Matt Canada is doing nothing to help out the Steelers' offense right now. And Kenny Pickett just went down with a bone bruise. He'll be out for some time. Now comes Mr. Trubisky. If it looks bad under him, what do you do? Yeah.
Let me quickly say this about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ian Rappaport just tweeted out, Steelers quarterback Kenny Pickett suffered a bone bruise in his knee that could lead to a short-term absence per me and Mike Garofalo. The door is open for Pickett, who also has a muscle strain to play this week, but the team may be smart with a bye in week 6. So they might try to rest him up for 2 weeks. To me, Kenny Pickett's been unbelievably disappointing through the first quarter of the season. I still think he's a solid quarterback, right? I just need to see more, right? I do need to see more. A lot of that has to do, like you said, with OC. I disagree with the Mike Tomlin statement. You're going too far. DeMeco Ryans, the Houston Texans look like a very good, young, promising, up-and-coming team. I thought that they would be the number 2 team in the AFC South this season. Did not think that they would look this good this early on. Like I said, despite all the injuries, Steven Nelson's been playing great. The defense is going to keep getting more equipped, and they've been playing phenomenal, especially these last 2 weeks. Big shout out to DeMeco Ryans and the Houston Texans team. Let's move on and try to wrap up the rest of this week 4. We got the Las Vegas Raiders at the LA Chargers, who are missing a lot of key players. Justin Herbert was resilient, still found a way, even with a huge finger injury, to win that game.
Yeah, shout out to Club Mac, had 6 sacks out of nowhere. They said I think he has like 12 sacks so far in his Chargers career, and 7 of those have come against the Las Vegas Raiders, man. So shout out to
a Chandler Jones week 1 performance. Let's just call it what it is. He did.
And Chandler Jones is going through it right now, man. I don't know what's going on with him.
Yeah.
But shout out to the Chargers. They got the job done. Like I said, like you mentioned, Justin Herbert showed some amazing resiliency with having that damn finger splint on while still making some tough throws on the field. As for the Raiders, I gotta make a video about them, man. It's definitely one of the
Yeah,
strangest
it's just
franchises I've
nothing
ever
needs to be
seen in
said
the
about
NFL.
them.
I mean, one of the strangest franchise, man. Gotta be.
And we're the
Go ahead.
Jags, and that's saying a lot. No, I agree.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
have anything to say about the
yeah.
Raiders. I hope everything's well with Chandler Jones. Don't need to get into the significant details
Strange
about what's going on because
franchise, man. Strange
I don't
franchise.
think anyone truly knows except for people that are internally working within the organization know what's going on. So just whatever it is, hope everything's well.
Real
Hope
quick,
he's well.
real quick,
Go ahead.
but real quick. Do you think them going to Las Vegas is the reason for all these things happening? Should they have stayed in Oakland? Because since they left
No,
Oakland,
because I don't think
it's been crazy.
it has been. It's been one thing after another. It's been from gosh, what's his name? Former head coach before the interim took over. Geez, what's his name? With all the scandals and the emails.
Call him Chucky, man. God damn. Oh
What's
wow.
his name? John Gruden. There we go. John
Yeah,
Gruden.
John Gruden. There you go. John Gruden.
John
Yes,
Gruden.
yes.
And
Yeah.
then it was with the interim head coach who should have remained the head coach. And it was Derek Carr. And then it was
AB.
Antonio. Oh, I forgot about Antonio Brown.
Antonio
about
Brown,
that.
Chandler Jones.
Jones, obviously
Henry
Henry
Ruggs.
Ruggs. And then there was another one with the defensive player with, I think, the gun. And then
Damon Arnett.
Yes. The
Mike
domestic
Mayock.
charges thing. Everything. Just one thing after
weird
another.
Franchise, dog. Weird.
Can't catch a break. It sucks to be a fan. I don't think Vegas has anything to do with it. I'm sure that maybe some things like Henry Ruggs plays a role and a factor into that, but just unfortunate circumstances, man. I don't need to speak much about the Las Vegas Raiders. Just with the Chargers, man. Justin Herbert, got to give him props. Mike Williams, I think, for the remainder of the season, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. That's a big hit for them, obviously, in the receiving core. Obviously, they have Quentin Johnson, Keenan Allen still out there. They didn't have Eckler this past weekend. They didn't have Joey Bosa, I believe. So just things will get better.
They found
a way. Regardless, in the NFL, you take a win whenever you can get it. Absolutely. Now, the New England Patriots, the Dallas Cowboys, Bill Belichick suffers his worst loss ever as a head coach. Don't even need to talk about this too much, though, man. Just kind of give me your quick takeaways with this game.
Got nothing to say. Matt Jones got benched after all those conversations throughout the middle of the week of, is Trevor Lawrence and Matt Jones in the same conversation? Fuck no. Continue, though, Brett. Continue.
Yeah, Mac Jones played like absolute shit. Really can't justify his play or really Bill O'Brien's play style and calling. Ramondre Stevenson, Ezekiel Elliott do not get the ball enough with a quarterback that has zero mobility. We've known this from his time at Alabama. He does not have a Devontae Smith. He does not have a Jerry Jeudy. He has Juju Smith-Schuster and Kendrick Bourne. That's what he's got to work with, right? So not making excuses. Bill O'Brien needs to do a better job. Bill Belichick needs to do a better job. The Dallas Cowboys went out there and just absolutely beat the living shit out of the New England Patriots. Nothing else needs to be said about that. The Arizona Cardinals and the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers win that game comfortably, as they should. 35-16 over the Arizona Cardinals, who've been a very competitive team, essentially, through the first 4 weeks of the season.
Yeah, competitive Cardinals team lost, unfortunately. CMC now extends his streak to 13 games with straight touchdowns. Looking like an MVP favorite as well, in my opinion. Brock Purdy has been playing really good. I think Brock Purdy finished the day with like 20 for 21 or something crazy like that, man. He was playing out of his mind. So, yeah, the best team in football, the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, I can't say otherwise, right? I think them and Philadelphia, two of the best teams in the NFC as of right now. And as soon as I bet on Christian McCaffrey to make it 14 straight games, he's about to break that, because that'll be just my luck if I take that over. But man, Brandon Ayuk, a phenomenal game. Debo's
amazing.
I told you, man, Brandon Ayuk, man, is going to freaking be the best receiver in the NFC West this season. Very high on that kid, and just what Kyle Shanahan's doing. They took care of their opponent as they should. Won a divisional game. Moving into the last matchup of Sunday with Sunday Night Football, the Kansas City Chiefs at MetLife Stadium for the Taylor Swift game. So tired of hearing about Taylor Swift. I have nothing but the utmost respect for Taylor Swift. Her fans, Swifties, no disrespect. Swifties, Beyonce fans, and Harry Styles fans have got to be the worst celebrity artist fans out there. Cannot stand them. Very talented artist. We've grown up, and she's been a celebrity icon. I don't care if Travis Kelce is bagging Taylor Swift. I don't think anybody cares. Nobody cares. He doesn't even like Taylor Swift. I'm going to just keep it a buck. He doesn't. He likes the 70 million. Because I've seen his previous girls. And Kendra Nicole, Damn, bro. I wouldn't even say he
Man.
lost because I mean there was some, some issues financially that he's like, we split in 50-50. He's like, we split in
I'm
50-50.
dead.
And respect, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because you're the breadwinner does not mean you should be paying 100%. Just as the man. Just my thoughts on it. You know what I'm saying? Hey, we live in the same household. We pay the same bills. You gonna contribute. You gonna contribute in this
man
household.
Brett went on a whole
You know what I'm
damn misogynist take. I'm just playing.
I'm not. I'm just keeping it a buck, man. I could be making $80 million a year. My girl making $100,000 a year. You gonna contribute too. I'm not saying I gotta be 50-50, right? Every relationship, every dynamic's different. Financial situations, I get it. Look, you that 800 and whatever million it is, whatever, y'all money's together. I'm not saying it's my money and your money. It's our money. It's our home.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to turn a house into a home. What can I say?
Yeah.
But
I don't know if it's that deep, but
he liked them dark chocolate women, man, and that's respect, bro. Shout out to my boy Kelsey, bro, because he went from having some swag, you know what I'm saying, having the beard, having the fresh fade, to a firefighter, creepy mustache.
He looked like a cop.
Bro, come on, we know what happened, man. We know what happened. As soon as he went to some white chocolate, man, come on.
But
you better buck with me, Travis. Come on.
Sticking back to football, though, I don't want to talk about
football. My bad.
The Chiefs. I don't want to talk about them. I mean, Patrick Mahomes got bottled up. The offense still looks a bit janky.
He looked like ass.
He did look like ass. He looked terrible.
Not to Chris Collinsworth, apparently, but
Chris Collinsworth. My goodness, bro, the amount of
glazing, bro. He might overtake Krispy Kreme, man, and number one glazer.
The glazing. I mean, you talking about Patrick Mahomes? And he throws one of the best high balls in football, but it just got picked up. Like, bro, shut up.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, let's focus on the New York Jets, man. Zach Wilson, Zachary Capona Wilson. How do you say his middle name? I mean, what a bounce back performance, man. Playing with confidence, almost willing your team to victory. I mean, yes, you did have a turnover at the end of the game that, folks will probably look back on like, yeah, that is old Zach Wilson, we know. But after this game, how could you not feel confident as a Jets fan going forward? I mean, yes, I know it was for 3 quarters because in that first quarter, he didn't play all that well. And we'll see what happens going forward. They have the Broncos coming up next, and you expect him to rip apart this Broncos offense like Tua and Justin Fields did, right? I always said that Zach Wilson and Nathaniel Hackett, they can work well together because Hackett had Bortles, and Bortles, he got the best out of him, right? Hackett got the best out of Bortles during the time he was there as a passing coordinator and a play call. And I honestly believe it's pretty obvious that Zach Wilson is 100% more talented as a passer in the NFL than Blake Bortles, right? When it comes to just arm talent, not decision making, but arm talent, right? I think Zach Wilson has one of the best arms.
He's got NFL talent. He just doesn't have the NFL mental. Yet.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So,
we'll give him some time.
But yeah, he made some big time throws, man. I mean, it was just nice to see. I mean, the offense looked a lot better. They just finally said, "Hey, we're going to take the cap off you, Zach Wilson. You're going to go out there and try to win this game." And he almost did that. There was some holding calls that should have been called. I think
Zach Wilson was playing like when Jordan Poole saw them courtside batting.
Yeah,
that's what Zach Wilson was playing like, man.
Playing. Yeah,
he turned into
courtside milfs.
Yeah, courtside milfs.
But
hey Taylor, I see you out there. Yo, Travis, watch this.
Yeah. I saw someone said that after this game, Taylor Swift fans are going to lead the game thinking that, hey, Zach Wilson is better than Patrick Mahomes. That junk was so funny to me.
But see, Swifties don't know nothing about what Zach Wilson did to his ex-girlfriend's mom or whatever.
That's crazy.
And that's respect. But I'm sorry, bro. I respect that. But go ahead.
No. But what was I saying? But overall, man, I just feel like going forward, this offense for the Jets should be a lot better than what we saw these previous weeks after Aaron Rodgers went down in that Buffalo Bills game. So, like I said, the holding calls, the Jermaine Johnson got held by a tackle from the Chiefs. They didn't call it. The Sauce Gardner call was, I mean, you're throwing up a 50-50 ball. They're fighting for the positioning. I don't know how you call that play after the cornerback had already intercepted the ball. Michael Carter already came down with it, and they throw a pick while he's running with the football.
Chris Collinsworth made the call real quick.
Yeah, I mean, it was unfortunate, but the Chiefs got the job done. They showed some resiliency as all championship teams do when they have that DNA in their heart, or in the system. So, going forward, the Chiefs have an easy schedule, so they have to play the Chargers, Broncos twice, and I think the Raiders. And like I said, the Jets have the Broncos coming up. So, I'm not counting the Jets out yet as a wild card spot, man. I think they can still make it. Zach Wilson has to continue to play like that, but we'll see. And this whole Aaron Rodgers situation about his Achilles, man. He's saying he's going to come back in the same year, bro. I don't know what the hell is going on with that, but that is some abnormal shit. So But anyways, I like what I saw from Zach Wilson and his Jets defense. And yeah, we'll see what happens in week 5.
Aaron Rodgers is not coming back this season. That's just idiotic
Yeah,
to even say. That's just no. I mean, he's the last guy I'm taking medical advice from after he was immunized, quote unquote.
yeah.
He'd been immunized, so that's the last guy on earth I'm taking it from.
Crazy,
Aaron
bro.
freaking Rodgers. But with Zach Wilson, he's got NFL talent. He's still got NFL mobility. He's got NFL arm talent. He's just the processing has not been there. We alluded to it earlier, right? He's not the guy that's going to take a 3-5 step drop back and read a defense pre-snap and say, hey, this is where I'm going with the ball, right? Going through multiple reads, going through his progressions. That's just not where he's at yet in his career. Maybe that has a lot to do with Nathaniel Hackett, maybe with Robert Saleh. It could be a multitude of things too, right? Even his previous OC in LaFleur, right?
Yeah,
Maybe there's just some progression issues. He's just got to still learn and continue to get better. It was nice to see him finally go out there and look a little bit confident and the team kind of believe in him. But with the Kansas City Chiefs, I mean, I got nothing else to say, man. Juwan Taylor's looked horrible.
he's been looking
Jaguars
terrible.
definitely, got lucky right there too. He obviously signed a huge deal. I think 4-year, $80 million, $60 million of that guaranteed. He has 10 penalties through 4 games. 10 penalties through 4 games. The Jaguars got very lucky there. Kansas City's offense has got to do a better job getting the skill position guys involved. It's not Isaiah Pacheco or Travis Kelce, but otherwise they're a championship caliber team. They're going to find a way to win. Into the last matchup last night, the Seattle Seahawks just absolutely blew out the New York Giants 24-3. Daniel Jones was sacked 10 times, had 2 interceptions, had 2 fumbles, I believe. Kenneth Walker, Noah Fant. I mean, I know Geno Smith went down and got injured as well too early on in the game, but Seattle just went out there and just took care of business.
Yeah, I mean, the Giants have a decision to make here soon. Well, after this season, right? They're more likely going to have a top 3, top 5 pick. The question is, do you decide to actually build around Daniel Jones the right way, right? By getting him a better offensive line, adding in some key free agencies, getting a wide receiver 1, or do you say, F all this, we're going to take our draft picks and our money, we're going to trade Daniel Jones away to the Atlanta Falcons or whoever, and we're going to get Brian Daboll a legit franchise quarterback? Because obviously, I think Daniel Jones has shown us so far in his career, he's mid, right? He's a middle of the pack quarterback. He is not good at all enough to really uplift the efficiencies you have around him. So you need to build around him.
He's a game manager, and that's okay.
Exactly.
That's all he
is. So
is.
if you're not willing to build around him, you need to move on from him. I compared it to Blake Bortles and the Jacksonville Jaguars back in 2018.
Comparison.
2018.
No wide receivers.
No, 2017. The Jaguars had a fantastic season offensively, and they had an amazing playoff run, right? And Blake Bortles was very serviceable, right? He played good. However, heading into that season, we all knew there was a possibility the Jaguars could upgrade that room by grabbing a quarterback via Lamar Jackson in the draft or whoever, right? But decided to give Blake Bortles a contract extension that was mainly due to, Tom Coughlin and Doug Marrone. Now, it wasn't as significant as the contract that Daniel Jones has received, but it was pretty substantial, right? So we played 2018 with Blake Bortles, and he was terrible, and so was the Jaguars team overall terrible, right? They finished like 5-12 or wherever they finished, 5-11. 5-11 because
5-11.
5-11, and they released Blake Bortles the following year and went after someone like Nick Foles, and we all know how that turned out. So, I think that, like I said, they have a decision to make, right? I think just like Blake Bortles, Daniel Jones is the middle of the pack game managing quarterback. So either you're going to put weapons around him, a better offensive line around him, better play calling around him, or you just say, scrap it. We can't do this anymore. Yeah, we gave you a 4-year on $60 million contract, but we can get out of this because the way we restructured this deal.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, after 2 years, his guaranteed money's up after 2 seasons.
Exactly. So I think they need to bite the head on the bullet, bite on, however you want to say it, bite the head, bite the bullet, whatever, and go ahead and release him or trade him away after this season and just get a franchise quarterback.
They're going to be a lot of dead cap. So I think
it's okay. It's okay.
They're going to hold on to him for one more season. They're going to hold on to him for one more season. They're not going to let him go 1 year.
If that's the case, go out there and get. I mean, their first 3 picks in NFL draft should be two tackles, 2 linemen or whatever, and a receiver.
Andrew Thomas is a very highly paid tackle. He's a very good tackle,
but he's not healthy right now.
Not look good through the first season in 4 games. Of his NFL tenure, he's not look good at all.
Yeah,
the interior of the offensive line does not look good. Saquon Barkley's consistently injured. He's missed 24 games.
Exactly.
since 2018, and he's obviously a huge piece of that offense.
You should try to trade him away.
He's a
too.
Saquon merchant. Let's just call it what it is. But that's what a great running back like a Saquon does. So you pay a Saquon, right?
Exactly.
Saquons don't just grow on trees, right? You're not going to find a running back like a Travis Etienne, like a Jameer Gibbs, like a Saquon. Who else am I forgetting? Christian McCaffrey, right?
Just versatile
Those guys
running
are
backs,
anomalies,
you know what I'm saying?
right?
Yeah,
Even a
yeah,
Brees
yeah.
Hall right now. Those guys are anomalies. You're not finding consistent running backs like that. Not the whole, oh, we can just go get a 4th round running back and that's just going to work out for us. It's not going to always work out like that. There's levels to this. And you pay a running back who helps open up your offense, help open up that play action game for a game managing quarterback like Daniel Jones. This is not on him. This is not on him. In my opinion.
I think Daniel Jones is the least of the Giants' worries right now. They have so many more problems. Darren Waller is a disaster right now. I mean, he's done nothing. I mean, Jalen Hyde doesn't even get involved. I mean, there's deeper issues.
That's unfortunate. He should be he should be a top 2 receiver on that court, because when you look at Darius Slayton, Paris Campbell, Jalen Hyde, like Sterling Shepard,
Isaiah
like
Hodgins,
Isaiah Hodgins too. These are a bunch of just maybe wide receiver 2s. I think Jalen Hyde's got potential, but I'm saying like these guys maybe are wide receiver 2s. These guys are all wide receiver 3s, and you're not doing anything to help them. When was the last time the Giants took a 1st round wide receiver? Odell Beckham, right?
Yeah.
That I can remember. So
I think Sterling Shepard was 1st round.
Recall.
If I'm mistaken.
Who?
Yeah. I think Sterling Shepard went 1st round. I think.
Sterling Shepard was not a 1st round pick, was he?
I think maybe
whatever.
2nd round.
Okay, whatever. Regardless, they need to put more talent around him. All right. Now that we're done with the week 4 recap, we've only got a few more minutes left here on the podcast before everything kind of trickles down. So let's go into our I was about to say, I didn't think he was a 1st round pick. Let's get into our week 5 predictions. Like we mentioned earlier, Darren, you've got a record of 39-27 through week 4. I've got a record of 38-28. So I'm just 1 game behind you. We both got 11 correct last week. Let's go into our picks for this week. Thursday night football, Chicago at Washington. Who's your pick?
Give me the Commanders.
I like the Commanders to win that game as well, too. Now we got Jacksonville at Buffalo for the 2nd consecutive week that they'll be playing in London. This is technically a, quote, road game for the Jaguars.
Give me the Buffalo Bills, unfortunately.
You like Buffalo? I like Jacksonville to go out there and win this game. I think they desperately need it for momentum purposes and for a lot of belief in that locker room and for this fan base. Houston Texans at Atlanta Falcons.
Man, shoot, boy, give me the Falcons. I think the Falcons play really well at home for some odd reason, and I think this might be the game that Stroud has his kind of rookie come down.
No, I like Houston. I like Tank Dell. I like John Mechie. I like CJ Stroud to go out there and take care of business on the road. They're going to improve to 3-2. Carolina at Detroit.
Give me Detroit.
Yeah, I think Detroit's just too talented, too good of a team. I like Detroit to win this game. We got we got the Tennessee Titans at the Indianapolis Colts.
AFC South division battle. I think the Titans always do well against the Colts, so give me the Titans on the road.
I like Indy at home, man. I like Anthony Richardson to go out there and put on a hell of a performance versus Mike Vrabel in that defense. The New York Giants at the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, give me the Dolphins.
Real quick, how many points is Miami scoring in this game?
Oh my God, I think the Giants' defense is solid, so they might score.
And I love Deontay Banks.
I think they scored 31 points. They'll be like 31-10, something like that.
I like Miami to win this game too. They're going to 38 piece him though. They're going to 38 him. So I like Miami to win that game. The New Orleans Saints at the New England Patriots.
Give me the Saints.
I like New England to win that game, man. Don't ask me why I believe in Bill Belichick and that team, but they're going to come out a lot more motivated after an embarrassing performance. The Baltimore Ravens at the Pittsburgh Steelers, who may or may not be without starting quarterback Kenny Pickett.
For some odd reason, Lamar always struggles against the Steelers. I think the Steelers get this one. I think they do.
Okay.
For some odd reason, I think they do.
I'm taking Lamar, man. These AFC North divisional battles, man. He needs to come out, be prepared.
It's in Pittsburgh, right?
It is in Pittsburgh. I was going to say Heinz Field. I don't know what it is anymore.
It's like assurance, something like that. I don't know. It's not like an insurance company. I don't know. It's weird.
It's still Heinz Field to me. It's still American Airlines. It's still Staples Center. It's still Heinz Field. All the above, and it was always the bank. Philadelphia at the Los Angeles Rams. That's gonna be a good game.
Give me. I think the Rams get their. Give me the Rams. I think the Eagles drop their first win of the season. Give me the Rams.
That'd be crazy if you would have looked at the schedule before the season. The Eagles lose their first game at the Rams. Nope. I like the Super Bowl contenders. I like the Philadelphia Eagles to win that game. Cincinnati at Arizona.
This is so tough, but I refuse to believe Joe Burrow shows his ass again. I actually have him having his. Hey, Joe Burrow, welcome to the 2023 NFL season, like I did for Justin Fields last week against the
Okay.
Denver Broncos. So this is going to be Joe Burrow. Hey, welcome to the NFL season, man. About time you show up. So give me the Bengals in this matchup against the Cardinals.
Okay, we're both picking the Bengals in this game, but this game is going to be very close. This is going to be a very close game, but I like Cincinnati to win this game as well, too. The New York Jets at the Denver Broncos, a shit
Give
show.
me the
So we gotta
Jets.
watch.
Jets. Jets. Zach Wilson has himself a 3-touchdown day. And also, there's a lot of
Zach
trash
Wilson
talking
does
between
not have-
Sean Payton and Nathaniel Hackett. Man, I think Hackett goes out there and puts up a performance, coaching-wise, scheming-wise. Give me Hackett and the Jets.
You know how funny it's going to be if Sean Payton and company just destroys Nathaniel Hackett of the Jets, though.
It will be pretty funny.
That'll be
But
just
it'd
such
be
good
even
ratings.
funnier if Hackett gets his,
Revenge on the Broncos.
His last word.
Jets. Yes, I'm taking the Jets to win this game. Zach Wilson's not throwing 3 touchdowns, but let's continue. The reigning and defending Super Bowl champions at the Minnesota Vikings.
Give me the Chiefs. God damn it, give me the Chiefs, man. Fuck.
I got Minnesota winning this game.
I was so close, man. I was so close.
Justin Jefferson's about to have himself one hell of a game. Okay. I'm telling you, 9 catches, 172 yards, 2 tutties. Jay Jett is about to go off on that.
This Chiefs defense is still very good, man.
They're very good. A lot better than expected.
A lot better. Yeah.
Dallas at San Francisco.
Ooh, give me San Fran, man. Dallas they show me some things, but even this game against Patriots wasn't really overwhelming for their offense. Their defense dominated, but their offense still a little lackluster at times. So give me the San Francisco 49ers at home.
Definitely valid. All right. I like San Francisco to win this game as well, too. Christian McCaffrey going to continue the MVP campaign. Dak Prescott's going to struggle because this guy just cannot go through the progressions of a phenomenal defense, right? Any quarterback struggles versus the 49ers. This is not just a Dak issue, but I'm just alluding to the fact that I don't trust Dak in high leverage moments. High leverage moment, big time game, a team that's defeated them twice in the last 2 postseasons. I like San Francisco to win this game. They've got their number. Now getting into Monday Night Football, the Green Bay Packers at the Las Vegas Raiders.
Such a shitty
game. Your favorite head coach and Josh McDaniels.
Give me Packers, man. It's such a shitty game.
It is. I like Green Bay to win this game as well, too, man. Jordan Love's going to go out there and just have an absolute field day against that Raiders secondary. I like them to win this game as well, too. So next weekend, I'm going to come in here with a better record than you. I'm going to 2-up you this week. And yeah, man, it's just going to be a great week of football, man. And yeah, man, great pod today, man. Great discussions, bro. Had a lot going on.
I think I'm going to pick the Patriots over. I got Patriots over whoever the Patriots face. The Saints give me the Patriots over.
So it's New Orleans at New England. You pick New Orleans.
Give me the Patriots. I'm going Patriots. No Saints. Yeah, I thought about it for a second, man. Okay. Give me New England at home. I'm sorry.
All right, we're officially making that change. So we both picked New England to win that game.
Well, I don't know. No. Fuck it. I'm sorry. I'm staying put, bro. I'm sorry. Give me the Saints on the road. The last time the Saints faced the Patriots at home, they made Mac Jones throw like 5 interceptions. Give me the Saints on the road. Their defense is going to prevail. Saints.
Very good Saints defense. Very good Saints defense. I actually am playing them in fantasy, but I still like Mac Jones and company to win that game, unfortunately. But great week 4 recap podcast, man. Had a lot of great discussions, especially when it came to Justin Fields and just really overall with this team moving forward, the Jags, and man, big game. So I hope they beat Buffalo this weekend, man. Great pod. Bro, I hope you have a great rest of your week, man. To all the listeners out there, man, thank you guys for tuning in, man. I hope you guys had a great week. I hope you guys have a great week ahead, man. Let's get ready for some good football this upcoming weekend, college football, NFL football, and getting prepared for the NBA season as well, too, which is going to be coming to the channel and the podcast extremely soon, man. But hey, like always, man, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Don't Overthink It Podcast, man. Episode 6 is now